So first game in a little bit, how do you feel?
Felt pretty good. Actually pretty sore, but pretty good. I mean, it's not the result that we were hoping for, I think, as a unit, as a team. But from a personal standpoint, I was really happy to get back out there. That's why I came to New York. It was to play and to step on that field. It's amazing. It's a blessing.
Did you think you'd be starting that quickly?
I mean, I never got traded before. I never had to assimilate a whole playbook in a couple of days. So I thought I was going to be okay. It turned out to be a lot harder than I thought, to master a playbook and all the detail and 2-minute cadence and turbo calls and so on. But, I mean, guys were amazing, whether it's JVR or Connor, like everybody chipped in to try to get me up to speed. And overall, I think I had a pretty good grasp on the playbook by game day. All right, cool. I'm just kidding.
What were those moments like last season with the work you were doing? I guess just what sort of impact has that had on you since?
A big impact, that's for sure. I think it changed my perspective, both as a future physician, but also as a football player, like realizing the opportunity we have to play ball for a living, And I know I'm going to be evolving in the medical community for the next 40 years, but I think last year it was some special circumstances. And I felt like it was the best thing for me was to go on the front line and help in any capacity possible. Like I was part of a movement of thousands of people that went back and helped, whether it was retired nurses, doctor, and I think it gave me a different perspective also on the medical system. Like everything is so hierarchic normally, but in a time of crisis, feeling like everybody coming together and working as a team, that was. It was pretty amazing.
What's it like to kind of get used to new offensive line teammates? You come in, you got to get to know everybody. Playing next to Connor, playing next to Morgan. What is that process like?
I mean, it's it's a lot of adjustment for sure. Like sometimes you're like, okay, I know I said this, but then there's little subtlety. Like some guys play a little deeper, some guys are more aggressive. So it's just a different mindset, different culture. So you got to get used to it, but. At the end of the day, it's all about communication, and I've been pretty lucky that my first game was at home where we could talk to each other, talk on the line of scrimmage, and whether it was Morgan or Connor, they were unbelievable at communicating. You see, my English is not that good either, but communicating with me all the details and stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of adjustment because it's not only about learning the playbook, but it's also learning what's the philosophy of the offense, and the way we run outside zone here is for sure different the way that I ran it in Kansas City. So getting used to the footwork and all that stuff is it's a lot of change, but it's all good, it's all good, and by the time I'm gonna get a good grasp on that, it's gonna be I think it's gonna benefit the team.
When you left to do the work that you did, was there always the idea that you would return to football? And second part of that is, was there ever a point while you were doing that work that you thought, well, maybe maybe football won't continue for me in the future?
Yeah, I mean, no, I kind of promised myself when I opted out that I was going to go back. For me, it was not about, the money, the legacy or whatever. It was really about playing. And it's kind of a personal challenge that I set for myself. I was like, okay, I'm going to take a year off, but I'm going to work out by myself. Like all the gyms were closed back in Montreal. Like I trained on my balcony in the middle of the winter for like 6 months. And it's kind of a goal that I give myself. And, being in Kansas City and feeling like I was not in control of my destiny was not something that I really appreciated. And that's why, the whole trade situation happened. And that's why I'm here. It's because I want to play ball. I want to contribute to the offense, to the unit. And yeah, so I don't know if I answered both part of your question, but for me it was, football doesn't last forever, and being able to step away from it for a year and coming back, that's kind of a challenge that I set for myself.
Have you considered the fact that what you did is now probably part of your legacy? So whenever you talk, people will ask you about that. I mean, we've had you twice, and people are interested. Like, this is part of your legacy, football and otherwise.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said earlier, like I'm going to be evolving in the medical community, doing the work that I want to do for the next 40 years, I hope. And at the end of the day, football, it's an amazing adventure, but it's also for me a way to build a platform to promote a greater message, something that you believe in. And for me, it's public health. It's trying to do primary prevention with kids and so on. I hope that what I did is also going to follow me and be part of my legacy, because I want to use it to try to have a greater impact.
Have any of your new teammates asked you for any medical advice or picking your brain and stuff like that?
Yeah, that already started. But I think it's more of as a joke than anything else. I feel like my job in a football locker room is to play football, and I try to stay away from giving second opinion to guys. I feel like I could get myself in trouble for that.
Do any teammates ever ask you about the vaccine? Because that's obviously been a hot button issue for the last year here.
Yeah, I mean, I had a few conversations with teammates about it. It's a personal decision at the end of the day, but I feel like as a medical professional, we have the responsibility to try to give the best information possible, and it's a personal decision, but of course, if you ask me, like, everybody should get vaccinated. So I try to state the fact and stay objective, and having those conversations with teammates, I think, gives you kind of another perspective on the issue, and I think it allows me to better understand why some people would be, a little more hesitant about vaccination and maybe come up with better arguments. So I think having conversation is great.